These were great. Oh my God. I actually had an agent
Hmm.
that made me rich, very, very wealthy at a very young age.
Amazing. Amazing.
Then I went off to college and um, got a master's in fine art
Hmm.
from Parsons and
Hmm.
got a master's of art history from Oxford
Hmm.
in four
Impressive.
years.
Impressive.
An
Where
undergraduate to graduate degree in 4 years.
and just out of curiosity, any of those classes in both of those fine educational institutions teach you anything along the lines of business, sales, or marketing your art or creative?
Absolutely not.
Not even a paragraph in a single textbook.
Not even they didn't utter a word about marketing.
I know.
And now I'm finding out that there's a lot of art schools now that are requiring it in colleges that if you're going to major in art, you have to have a minor in marketing.
It's smart. Although they're still woefully inadequate at teaching it because it moves so damn fast.
I've been screaming that for years, and yet I've yet to take a class in marketing. um, and I had several really good patrons, very good patrons that were purchasing me on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, they were all in pretty advanced stages and definitely advanced wealth. And unfortunately, between the pandemic and their age, I have no more clients.
Yeah. Yeah.
I lost 26 of my clients. The only 26 that I had.
That is brutal. That is brutal. I'm sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
it sucks. So trying to regain that is a big giant pain in the butt. But I did go back to school and got my degree in photography, which I really didn't need. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I only did it because I wanted to prove that I could actually merge that fine line between photography and art
Okay.
and art. And honestly, people do not know what they're looking at when they see my work. They don't know if it's photography or if it's a painting or if it's a photograph of a painting or what the hell it is.
Some
We're
combination
totally
thereof.
dumbfounded,
Yeah.
and which makes it all the more cool that they can't figure it out. And I try not to tell them what the subject matter is because I've gone off on a major tangent just to kind of say, screw you, art world, for doing this to me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, is I started photographing dumpsters, and there is no possible way you could ever tell they're dumpsters.
But we got to start selling it.
Yes, we do, big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And even in the 80s, so, like when you were having that heyday, you never knew who was purchasing your work. You never had records of who was purchasing your work. You didn't have an ability to talk to those people and let them know what you were working on next. And that, like, I've come to find that the collector list, the size of a collector list, and a collector list in the early days, you fake it until you can make it. And everyone on your email list is technically a collector. You fake it until you can make it, right? But then the collector list becomes anyone that's purchased anything. And I can objectively look at an art or photography business, regardless of the subject matter, regardless of their level of talent, regardless of their niche, and judge the revenue potential just based on the size of their collector list. Because what they would have taught in school is the easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. It's the one that
Sure,
you already have, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
If you can't please them, you can't please anybody,
yeah,
and you do everything you can to make them happy and keep them happy.
yeah.
Yes, I had one collector that came into a gallery where I was just setting up.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even open yet the day before, and she and I had a tiff, and so she wasn't speaking to me, but she had her assistant come over to me and said, "Miss Bass wants this, 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 and this, and that." I
Yeah,
said, "They're not even priced yet." She said, "Do you really think she cares?"
yeah. No, it's amazing. It's amazing. And
So,
I I I I was talking about the live art shows in the video before, right?
mm,
So now what our more secure and like advanced customers are doing is they will have a live art show for the public on, let's say, Wednesday, and then they'll start promoting it the week before, and then on Monday they'll have a private Zoom just for their collectors. Just for their collectors, closed down, no one else. They get first crack, they get to look at everything, they get to interact, they get to ask questions, come on camera, order commissions, whatever it is, and then they show the rest of the inventory to the public. And what ends up happening is when you run the art show to the public, no different than it would be in a gallery if the collectors were allowed in first, there's a bunch of little red circles on everything, right? Sold, sold,
exactly.
sold. And it just creates the FOMO. And the whole thing just it just ends up becoming a flywheel. The success begets success, which Doesn't make it any easier when you're just getting started, but it's what's possible when you cultivate a collector list.
Yeah, what's even more fun is when we have two collectors that are fighting over your work.
Oh, there's nothing better. Then you
Hating
just,
each other.
yeah, then you just get out of the way. But yeah, it's a very,
I'll sit back and,
that's rarefied air to be in, my friend. That's rarefied air.
speaking of shows, I have one this evening,
Good for a live one or an in-person one?
in-person one.
Good for you.
Tonight is the VIP show for all the collectors.
Good for you.
Yeah,
for you.
and
Very important.
it's a large group show, so it's nothing particular about me. But I know all these people, and luckily I know everybody's going to show up. And I don't think I'm gonna have much problem selling. I hope I don't.
Yeah.
I hope I sell.
Good.
Took 4 pieces up to the show, and
Do you know what you should do? Do you know what you should do? Is the second the show is over, or if you have the temerity and you're inclined, you can do it during. Is run a live art show by which grab this thing, stream to one of the networks, either during the show or after the show when it's all hung in there and when it's all looking beautiful. It's great marketing. It's great marketing.
I might do that. I was thinking about doing that while you were talking earlier.
Good. Yeah, or before. It doesn't matter when you do it. Like save the video and post it after the fact. But it's absolutely fantastic marketing. And I showed it in my little like warm up video. My buddy had a big show in a gallery, and it was during COVID, and some people could come, and it was masks, but it was in Canada, and people weren't traveling, and boom, we fired up the cameras, did the live, and he sold out another 60% of the show all via the live. Now granted, this is a guy that has a little bit of a following, so that helps, but very, very important.
Oh, thank you. This is
start building that collector list. God willing, you might have another 30 years of this business, right? If you got another 30, 35 years of this business, then get going, baby. Start building that collector list back up.
I do hope so.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I have a very good collector that she buys 1 or 2 pieces of my work every year, but she lives in Switzerland.
Amazing.
And her birthday was this year, her 50th birthday, and I've known this girl since she was 17 years old. And
you send her a piece?
No, I took her a piece. I took her 2 pieces.
Nice.
Personally.
Yeah.
Yep. I spent 10 days at her home, met her husband, met her 17-year-old kid that I'd never seen before. And she had just sold her business, so she had plenty of time to be tour guide to me.
Yep. That's how it goes. That's how it goes with collectors. That's why they're the most valuable thing, period. I mean, everyone's like, how can I get a grant? Or, how can I be like, in the French court in the 1600s and just get sponsored to do art? You find collectors, and collectors, it turns out, get addicted for whatever reason to particular art, and they just want more and more and more of it. That's why they're called collectors. They like collecting. So it's a powerful thing.
My aunt's husband is a very large collector of mine. He's a collector of art anyway. He's got probably about $5 million of art in his home right now in one of his homes.
Yeah.
And he put my piece right next to a Renoir.
Yeah, go do a live art show there too. Just be like, hey, this is me hanging.
Oh, kidding! Yeah. I should do that. They say no. I said, hell no. My insurance company won't allow
that. That's good marketing.
Yes.
All right. Well, good luck tonight on the show. Let us know how it goes.
Thank you. I definitely will.
All right. Thanks, Bobby. All right. Who else, guys? Questions, comments, concerns? You can do the digital hand raise thing, which again is just like the little reactions thing, and that lets you know you have a question. I can't tell if Joe's clapping or if you have a question. I'm gonna unmute you, Joe, in case you pressed the wrong one. You just did the hand clap thing. You can let me know if you have a question. Otherwise, Carl's asking. Yeah, just doing thumbs up. All good. What are art storefronts fees? We have like 3 or 4 different plans, Carl. So it sort of depends on what the 3 or 4 different plans are. Generally, how we price things is everyone fancies us just to be a website company like all the rest. We're quite a bit more than that. So you pay a monthly fee for the website. You pay a one-time fee to get into our university. It's essentially what I think of it as like, we teach you to grow your art or photography business for the rest of your life. You pay one time to get in that, you never pay again. And that's how we do on that. And then depending on what plan you are on, there's different transaction fees that I think at the lowest is like 2%, and then maybe it goes up to 10%, I think at the high. But if you request a demo, Carl, they'll walk you through all the plans, all the different bells, all the different whistles. At the end of the day, we started out as a website company, and then we realized, wait a minute, if You just give artists and photographers a website. Turns out they're not going to be successful. You have to teach them how to market. And then it was like, okay, how do you teach them how to market? And so we did everything that we could to teach them how to market. And then you realize, wait a minute, they actually need support, by which I mean encouragement, accountability, harassment, bribery, cajoling, all of the above. And they need to be in community when they're doing all of this. And once you get them in that position, then you have art businesses that are actually growing. So those are the things that we do, and we think we do a good job at it, and that's our business. That's how we try to get you guys where you're going. So that's what I would say. But who else, guys? Questions, comments, concerns? Can be about anything, or we can get right into trying to get you guys ready for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Okay, looks like Joe does have a question. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you just said this, but
no problem.
So what is the next step then if we want to pursue this?
So our test drive is the demo process, and they'll set up a Zoom with you and show you all the bells, all the whistles, all the plans, all the ins, all the outs, behind the scenes, that whole thing, and then you can go from there.
Okay, so that's a personal. You said it's a personal call.
Yeah. Well, they set up like the Zoom call like this, except it's just for you, and then they do a screen share and show you all just the whole thing. It's
okay. Great.
All the inside, all the outside, all the bells, all the whistles. Hold on, I'll write your name down so you don't have to do anything else. Or did you already request one?
I don't know. Someone's been calling. Someone called me right as this Zoom was starting, and they said they would call back in a couple hours. And I don't know if that's what we're talking about, or that was just a general call.
Yeah, I don't know. What's your last name, Joe?
OHRT.
OHRT. Okay, done. I'll make sure they call you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and the cool thing is like the video I played up front is like more than probably like a year and a half old now, and I like watching it. And I'm like, what's changed, right? And our evolution as a business has been so funny because it's hard not to take this cynically, but as it turns out, the more successful our customers are, the easier it is for us to grow our business. So we really are in a situation where we have, two oars in the same boat, and we just try to get the thing moving in one direction. And what's changed drastically since then is we've really realized you guys have 3 jobs, okay? And you don't need to take this cynically. It doesn't matter if you ever do business with us. You need to create the thing, you need to market the thing, and you need to sell the thing. And if whatever you're doing in your day-to-day as you're attempting to grow this business, you need to be able to ask yourself, am I working on creating the thing? Am I working on marketing the thing? And am I working on selling the thing? And if you're not in one of those lanes, you are wasting your time, okay? You are working things that are inconsequential. You are being busy for the sake of being busy, and the business is not going to grow. And what we found out, it turns out what doesn't fit into those 3 pillars is GoDaddy, CSS, HTML, uploading things, searching forums for solution, changing fonts on a website, changing colors. So you don't even build the website anymore. We build it for you. We take it completely off of your plate because you learning to be a web programmer or redirecting a domain from GoDaddy or trying to hook up MailChimp to your domain is a waste of your time. Okay, it does not fall into those 3 lanes, those 3 pillars, those 3 buckets. So very, very important. Wow, Niobe. This name was cool even before the Matrix. How much cooler was it after the Matrix? You have to unmute, Niobe. Please tell me you guys know who I'm talking about. Niobe in the Matrix. This is the first time I've ever seen someone with this name.
It's the first time I actually came across it as well, was with that movie, but I'm pretty lucky that way. So
yeah, awesome name.
It's a good plug for sure for marketing.
For sure, no, for sure it is. For sure it is.
So I'm a photographer, and I've been out of the country for the last 9 years traveling, and I'm coming back into the country.
Wait, I can't let that go. Like 9 years, like road warrior status. Where were you? What countries?
No, I was traveling with my husband for his work, and I was lucky enough just to travel and photograph and teach. I did a little bit of teaching as well at community colleges and things. So I kept on building my portfolio, my resume, whatever, but didn't get any artwork out there.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of back home, but nothing was happening. Anyways, I'm back, and I'm kind of trying to go full bore again. And my problem is accountability.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, in what ways does artstorefronts.com help me be accountable?
Yeah, so a whole bunch of ways, and like I said, it is literally you need to be supported in the sense that when you hit the wall technologically, there needs to be support that way, right? And we're really really good at that, all the ways you would imagine with that. Chat, tickets, video, Zoom calls, whatever it takes to get you unstuck technologically, that's important. You need to be in community, okay? And we handle the community in two ways. One, we have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel. Some people gravitate towards one, some people gravitate towards the others. So you form personal relationships, and everyone's going through the journey together. In addition to that, we have what we call our office hours, right? And office hours is essentially what we're on right now, except it's internal and private for customers only, where we talk about what you should be doing. We talk about what the next big thing is, and then everyone comes on, does Q&A, and asks questions, right? And you end up getting to know all of these other people that are all doing the same thing that you're doing. We have a calendar, okay, that goes 365 days a year and tells you what to do every single solitary day. Now, depending on where you are in your business, the calendar could be really way too advanced, and so you just take on what you can take on. Then you sort of level up. Then once you really start picking up steam, that's when you can start coloring outside of the lines and start making some of your own calls, right? Like you take all the core fundamentals of what's going on. And when there's big sales, you're on. You're not coloring outside the line. But you know, as people grow, they start self-selecting a little bit. In addition to that, there will be harassment. Okay, there will be occasional bribery. There will be screaming and yelling. You will get individual phone calls if you're just not doing anything, and we'll know you're not doing anything. So the combination of all of that in various different measure is how we do it, and you need all of it. And we've come to find it's actually more important than any of the rest of it is, because what moves mountains in this business is not the latest and greatest marketing technique, not how many hours you put in a week. It's regularly and consistently day after day after day showing up. That's what no one does. You guys are like, you go at it for a little while, the results don't match your expectations, and you quit. And then rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Once you get off of that hamster wheel and you're actually putting in 3 hours a week for 50 weeks, you're like, oh my God, I can only imagine if I was doing this earlier in my career where I'd be right now. It's what changes everything. You're ahead of the game, Niobe, just in the fact that you're recognizing what your biggest issue is, because it's an issue and it will not go away. It's hard.
It's always been an issue.
Yeah.
Once I'm in front of people, it's easy to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. It's why the video is so powerful. It's why Zoom is so powerful, because you know they
But you have to find that client that relates to your work too.
You
do.
But everyone's got a tribe, and you know that's like a cliche, like modern marketing thing, but it's so true. Everyone has a tribe, and that's the beautiful thing of like today's day and age. Is like, you know, if you were trying to do this when we were coming up as kids, you were limited to where you could be geographically, right? And that's only one corner of the globe at a time. Can't be everywhere, right? Now with the internet, you have the ability to connect to that many more people that are your speed, your style, and love what you do. And so it's just about putting in the work to find them and get going.
So part of that marketing calendar, maybe one of those things be building your client list outside of what you know by doing research on the internet.
Yeah, there are
other clients
there
around
are
the
parts
world.
there are parts of that. I mean, I think fundamentally, and who did I start with? I started with Bobby. Like when everyone was getting their degrees and learning about art history, or maybe you studied photography and you were learning about Lewis Hine and Ansel Adams and the F-64 troop and everything else, the information was there. They just never taught it, right? There's this book, like a sketch artist who is also a writer, started interviewing Pablo Picasso in the what is the book called? The author's name is Brassai, and it's like Impressions. I'll go look it up, and I'll pull it up in a second. And he's interviewing Pablo Picasso, and he's asking for advice on how to sell his work and how to get there, right? And Pablo's talking about the fact that in the beginning, he did not charge full price for his pieces, but his work went out into the world. It sold. It had to go out and find a home. And then you come to find out that Pablo Picasso, when he died, had 45,000 unsold works in his inventory. 45,000, okay? At the tail end of his life, he could have sold every single solitary one of those. He could have sneezed in a piece of Kleenex and signed it and sold it. What he realized early on, and this will dovetail back to your point, art, whether it's art creation or photography, it's a game of archery. Okay. You want to hit the bullseye. You're going to have to fire a lot of arrows. Some of those arrows are not going to hit the target at all. Some are going to go into the neighbor's yard and sail off here and sail off there and land in the grass. That's totally okay. That's how it's supposed to be. But you don't figure out how to hit the bullseye without all the practice. And so what artists and photographers are continually doing is saying, this is my arrow. This is what I want to create. This is what sustains me. This is what fulfills me. They pull back, they shoot, it doesn't hit the target, and they're like, well, I guess art doesn't sell. I guess I'm a crappy artist. I should have listened to my parents, and this was always going to be a hobby and gotten a job. And what no one taught them was that was just one arrow. Go fire 500 more, right? So one of the things that I've noticed, aside from, call it 5% of my customer base that has figured out what their niche is, and they only do their niche, and they nailed it, and they got there, some of the biggest and best are constantly experimenting with new things. Constantly experimenting with new things, which opens them up to new niches, new audiences, and everything else. And the best of the best just have that innately in them, but we teach it on a regular basis too on how to do it. But how you get there is really just marketing, right? It's marketing intelligently and knowing how to ask the right questions. But the analogy is the archery thing. You'll fire a bunch of arrows. One of them will hit the bullseye. How are you going to know that? The feedback that you're going to get, the sales that you're going to get out of it. The people are going to say, I love this. I want a commission. And then we're going to sit there. We're going to go, Niobe, you just found your next thing. Start going all in it, you know, and boom, 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 boom. Now, there are certainly some ways and some tricks and some hacks to get there digitally speaking, and we teach you that. But that should be a part of your process always. It should be a part of everyone's process. And for far too few, they just say, I do this one thing, and that's the only thing that I do. And again, you know, they're general rules, right? They're general rules. But there's some people that are like, I'm only going to paint abstract, and that's what I'm going to do, and that's going to be it. But you photographed a whole lot of stuff, right? In a whole lot of different places. And all of those various different places, you could go down the rabbit hole a million different ways. So it's just about having that skill set, and it's a muscle like anything else. You gotta work it out. You gotta exercise it, you know?
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And welcome home.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, there's something that's just in some people to like innately constantly pivot and try different subject matters and different subject materials, and you know, where do they land as a result of it. It's very, very interesting. But just because whatever you're on now is not kicking butt, is not lighting the world up, does not mean you're a crappy artist. It just means that what you're creating right now is not a product the market is particularly obsessed with, and that's okay. But even that is flawed advice, because what most of you do is you create something, you don't show it to anyone, and then it doesn't sell because you just expect it to sell out of thin air, and then you're like, I'm just going to quit, right? Like, you have to make sure you get it in front of enough eyeballs to even know whether or not it's going to sell. So that's a big thing too. But who else, guys? Questions? I can't tell, Michael, if you're raising your hand or not. Sort of looked like you were. No? Yep, that's okay. It's okay. You had your hand up like over here, and I was like, is he raising his hand? I can't tell. Guys, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they're coming. They are coming. And most artists and photographers that are just getting started or, you know, haven't sold a ton bit, they're like, it's for electronics and like Best Buy. That doesn't apply to me. Let me tell you, you bet your ass it applies to you. It applies to all of us. The advertisers out there spend a tremendous amount of money in every single solitary venue imaginable. Radio, TV. Does anyone watch TV anymore? Print, road signs, all over the internet, everywhere. And what that does is that whips the normal American consumer into a frenzy. It gets their trigger finger on the credit card, and as a result, more art will sell in the month of November than any other month all year long. It's more than double an average month. And so it is just a fantastic, fantastic time to be doing some marketing and trying to get a sell in the water. Okay? And you can't wake up 1 week before Thanksgiving and be like, okay, I'm going to get it going. Like, you need to start doing some planning now. You need to do a little pre-marketing now. You need to get your ducks in a row and get going on it. So something to think about, something to marinate on, and you know, get going. Okay, now, Michael, I'm going to say you do have a question. All right, I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead.
Okay. I am basically a retired Navy SEAL from the Vietnam era, and I do a lot of sketch work, and I do a lot of photography.
Mm-hmm.
Done a lot of combat photography, stuff like that, and that's where I'm at. I do mostly sketches, but I may do one a month. It's one of when I'm in the mood, I do it.
Yeah.
But I usually have no trouble getting rid of them when I show them to people.
But you usually just sell the original. You don't attempt to sell prints.
No, I've always sold the original. So if I could make prints, that would be even great, because we'll be doing some of these pictures. Say, oh, I like that one. Can I get one too? And it's like, well, it won't be the same, but it'll be close.
Yeah. You need to start selling the prints. That's critically important. Do you still live in San Diego, by the way?
I'm not in San Diego. I'm in Moreno Valley.
Nice, we stayed in California. Yeah. I went to school at UCSD, and one of my close friends, her brother was a Navy SEAL, and a bunch of those guys were going through buds when I was down there, and I got to see them after they finished buds, and they were like 3 of them holed up like freezing 2 days later with the blankets on top of each other, going the story that was the story that was so wild about that, it was like everyone's freezing to death. Buds is like the school that the Navy SEAls go through. Was it basic underwater demolition and something?
It didn't have it back then when I went through. Buds wasn't completely developed yet. So we went through our regular Navy boot camp, and then they go through Marine Corps boot camp in our Navy uniform, which was a real chore.
Oh, was that in Pendleton?
Yeah, that was Pendleton, and my dad was also a drill sergeant in the Marine Corps, so I got it from him as well.
Amazing. Well, God bless you for your service.
It was a challenge, but I hated it and I didn't want to do it, but I was so glad that I did, because when I got there, it's you don't have time to think, you just have time to react and do it. And that's why I see this type of business is that you don't wait, don't procrastinate to make your phone calls, get them done.
Yeah.
And start stacking them up for the next step.
Yeah. You have
That's the way I do business. I just finished my master's actually, so I'm good.
For you. Good for you. Well, you should sign up. We can get you on the path. You need to. You need to be selling prints, and you need to be selling prints on various different media types, and you need to be selling merch as well. Because when you go and create the thing, and it takes you that long to sell the thing, well, then you want to be able to sell thousands of the thing, right?
Yeah. I do a lot of Gothic stuff, so it's pretty popular.
Yeah. Awesome.
So we'll have to get in touch and talk about that.
Okay. Sounds good. You know where to find us, or if you want, I can have somebody call you, but zero pressure.
All right. Got it, man.
All right. Thanks, Michael.
You're welcome.
Remember those days. I went to school in San Diego. I was quite fond of it. I would have stayed down there if I could. I still have the 619 area code on my phone. I appreciated it so much. I only live an hour north in Orange County, so it's not like I'm so far away, but definitely miss those days. Anyway, neither here nor there. Who else, guys? Questions, comments, concerns? Can we be anything about anything while we're on here? All right, Todd threw something in the chat. As an enthusiast photographer, I have been praised by friends and family for my work and sold some prints, mainly at the request of friends, but you'd like to be able to take the next step. And he doesn't know whether or not his work is good enough to sell and don't have enough knowledge to take to the next step. Yeah, so the barrier, Todd, early on is you have to know whether or not your work will sell to people not named mom, dad, brother, family, friends, right? Because they'll do anything for you, right? They'll tell you your work's incredible, you need to sell it. But until you can sell the work to strangers, you don't know for sure that it will indeed sell. The easiest next step for you, Todd, is bite the bullet and sign up for a local fair or show. You know, you can sign up for a local fair or show. The reason I like signing up for the local fair or show is because once the deposit's done, your ass is doing it no matter what, right? You're committed. I'm locked in. Like, the deposit's done. You're getting prints made of your work, and you're going to go get in there. But you don't have to do it that way, right? Like, I like the guerrilla style too, which is you can do the smaller events, which is like get something at a farmer's market or get something at a brewery. You can go super hacky style, where get all the crap out of your storage and or your garage, have a garage sale, and then put all of your prints in the yard during the garage sale and see what you can sell them for. You can go that way too, right? But you got to get your stuff in front. I've got one guy, like, where I live, there's this one like pastry shop, has really good coffee. My kids love it, so it's like my weekend routine. I go down there every Saturday or Sunday. And there's a guy whose house is like on the main thoroughfare, the main drag. And every Saturday morning, his garage door is open at 5:30. He's got all of his easels with all of his work out on his driveway. And he's just sitting out there, right? He lives on a street where there's a bunch of traffic, and so he's doing it that way. So you figure out how to do it, but you need to get it in front of strangers as quickly as possible. Running the live art show is a great way to do it too, but you sort of need to have a social following, and if it's just your friends on there, then that's not going to be a very good proxy, right? unless you've really been marketing the work. So that's what I would say. Todd, try to do the local show up there. If you can, commit to doing that, you're going to get there. But as a photographer, no one will take you seriously if you're trying to show JPEGs. And I'm going to unmute you, Todd. Do not show JPEGs. You get the thing printed, Todd, and you're able to show it off, okay? It doesn't need to be huge, but you need to be able to show some canvas, some metal, some acrylic, and you can't do that by showing JPEGs on the computer. It has to be real. That's where most photographers blow it. Like, your consumer is not buying a JPEG. No one is buying a JPEG. They're buying something that has 3 dimensions, that hangs on the wall, and is real, right? So you got to get some of that stuff printed out and go for it. That's what I'd say on that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that advice. It's kind of scary. You kind of think that you may be okay with it or have something that somebody else would like, but to actually put it out there for people to see, that's a little bit scary for me.
Oh, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. But it's also, like one of the questions that we get all the time, and they use my name, the company does, to send emails all the time. You've probably seen a bunch of emails from me, so I'll get a bunch of responses. And all the time people are like, well, will you just look at my work? 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 And I'm like, I can't tell you. No one can tell you. An art curator cannot tell you. Somebody that's been in this industry for 1,000 years can't tell you. The only thing that can tell you is when the credit card comes out of the almighty wallet and gets slid, okay? A transaction is the only way you're ever going to know if the work is good enough. And the good news is that, all you have to do is print out some inventory. So how much of your photography do you have printed in inventory that you can show?
I've probably got stuff that I've printed that I have here in the house. I have a fairly good printer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Canon Pro Image 300, so I can do up to 13 by 19 prints.
Yeah.
But stuff that I have sold, I've always gotten an outside printer to do the printing.
Yeah, it's better, but you could use that printer, right? And do them all on paper, do them all on watercolor paper, or glossy paper, depending on whatever one you like, and just show those and try and sell those, right? Like, it's just it's a line you have to cross, but you have to learn to be able to sell them to strangers, right? It has to happen. It has to happen, and you can negotiate. All that you're looking for is the transaction. The transaction is validity that you're on the right track.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure, Tom. Thanks for asking. Yeah, and again, it's like, it's one of those things where, in doing it, you might run up against a wall and not sell anything. You might sell all of it. You might sell okay, not great, but you need to find out whether or not the work will sell. You need to find out whether or not the work will sell. If it doesn't, then try something else. It doesn't mean you're a crappy photographer. It doesn't mean you're a crappy artist. It just means whatever you're creating is not resonating with the market. And that's where that archery analogy comes in, and it is just so incredibly true, right? Like, it's also why doing an in-person event is great, because rather than hiding behind a social network or behind a website, you're having real face-to-face conversations with people, and you can be like, make me an offer on this, right? I'm selling it for $350. Well, it's a little steep for my blood. Okay, make me an offer. And then you shut up and you wait through the awkward silence and you see what they say. And they might say, I'll give you $200 for it. And you're like, boom, done, sold it. Even if you broke even on the piece, you're on the right track, right? Like, you'll never know until you know. You'll never, ever know until you know. So that's what I would say. In ML, no, I wouldn't recommend using Instagram ads when starting out. You're going to light that money on fire. It takes quite a bit of time to get good at Instagram ads, and most 99.9% of artists are not ready, not out of the gates to do that. So no, you could attempt running a live art show on there, but the easiest way, especially now that COVID has gone away, is an in-person, in-face event. Unless you tell me you live in Fairbanks, Alaska, or somewhere along those lines, in which case it might be a little hard to find a local theater show, with winter approaching, right? So everyone's got a different situation, different facts on the ground where they are, and sometimes it requires getting creative a little bit. For most people, though, you can get to a local theater show, which is a really, really important way to go. Important way to do it. That's what I'd say. Yep, I got you. I can't call you by your first name though, because it says Samsung SM967OU. Definitely not. You definitely don't look like a Samsung to me.
Sorry about that. I should have put my name in there. It's Greg Pritchett.
All right, hey Greg, how you doing?
I've been getting your emails and interacting for about a week or 10 days.
Mhm.
I've been, I'm as far from a carpenter as I am from the moon, but I've been doing some remodeling on the house, and
Okay.
it's challenging. I've been in various art shows,
Mhm.
and I had an online clientele just from people I know and people sharing my work, like I was posting stuff on Facebook.
Mhm.
And then when the pandemic hit, I just quit. And I said, I'm just going to post my art so that people have something pleasant to see. And
Mhm.
now I'm trying to get back into it. You know, I think I was doing close to 1,000 a month for probably 10 months. And when I quit, and so I'm getting back into some shows. I don't really want to do the farmers market anymore. It was fun, but the same people go to the farmers market all the time, and once they got your stuff,
Yeah.
you're kind of just hanging out.
Yeah.
But I love doing the work. The things that I wrote down are: am I creating? Am I marketing? Am I selling the art? And I do videos.
Good.
You know, and I just told my wife, I said, I'm committing to doing at least one video a week.
Good.
And then I might play it 3 times in the week, showing my art and trying to sell my art online.
Good.
And a lot of the people that have bought my art are sharing the video. So it's expanding a little bit, but I think I lost my courage. And I'm wondering if that happens to a lot of artists. Like, you're doing pretty good.
100%. 100%. Emotional roller coaster. Absolutely normal. Never goes away. Never goes away. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
why that's
that's
why
why-
the support and like the encouragement and the harassment, the bribery, the cajoling, all of it is so important because it's normal. It's totally normal. It's a lonely road. Lots of highs, high highs, low lows. Like you have to just keep moving. You got to just keep moving.
Yep.
I mean,
And
if
I
I could
like
go
the
back,
way-
if I could go back and like shake you, I'd be like, the pandemic is going to be the single solitary biggest boom art sales has ever seen. Don't stop. Don't stop. Right? Because you had more people online than ever before and everyone was stuck in their house. And for
Yeah.
the first time in their lives, they're like, okay, I'm actually spending enough time here to do something about these blank white walls, right? And everything in the home decor category exploded for 2 years straight. It was such a boon to art sales at a macro. It was absolutely incredible. But anyway, coulda, woulda,
And
shoulda.
that's the other thing too, is I'm not so computer literate, and I'm really trying to pick that up
Good.
because I realize how most of the sales were online.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, what more do you need to see, man? Just get to work now. And so when I get your emails
Mhm.
every day, it reminds me, are you doing the work? It really does remind me, am I doing the work? Because if I put in the work, man, something's going to happen good.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And that's it. And it's that
And I
simple.
love getting paid. I gotta say it. I love getting paid.
As you should. It should not be a hobby. Like if you guys have the skills, you should be able to turn it into a business. It's that simple, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to say thanks. And that's about it for me. I'm gonna get to work here. I gotta get back up on the roof before the weather changes. So
Good. Good. I appreciate it. Keep grinding. You have any questions, you come see me.
I will, I promise.
All right. All right. That's it.
I'll be in touch.
Sounds good. And good luck on the remodel,
Okay.
huh? Good luck on the remodel. Keep grinding those nails. Keep grinding those nails. All right.
All right.
Thank
Thank you, man.
You too. All right, guys, I'm running out of steam. Talking myself out of steam. Yes, and see, Doug here in the chat sent me a great thing. Look at how many fans who go to football games on Saturday. My setup in the Art Ball parking lot, absolutely. Like, I live down here on the beach, and there's people that are setting up on the beach all over the place that they don't have a permit, they don't have anything. They just have a table and they're going for it. So yeah, there's there's a significant number of ways to get creative in one's hometown, right? You just have to kind of think about how to do it, especially early on when you're trying to validate your work, which is definitely an important step on the journey. But okay, I'm going to send you guys a replay. The replay is going to have all the stuff that I talked about in the video, a bunch of different links and bells and whistles that should help you out. You can check those out. It'll be a page that has all the various different stuff on it. In addition to that, if you want more information about us, you can request a demo, which is the test drive. Look through all the bells, look through all the whistles, and when you sign up, we build your website for you. So all you have to do is start doing marketing and getting ready for Black Friday, which is going to be a big deal. It's a big deal every single solitaire year. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Thanks for staying till the end. Appreciate all of your attention. Hope to see you on a future session or on the inside, and hope you have a great rest of your week. See you guys later.